Hey, welcome to my first video of 2023. I hope your 2022 was amazing. I'm going to share my wins, my challenges, and some of the opportunities that I got to do last year. And I think it's just good to reflect on the year, and hopefully you can get some learnings out of this. And maybe, hopefully you notice my studio is a bit different. I actually got a black background, put a sheet up, which is really cool, and I got like some lights and just wanted to make it look different. So hopefully, I don't know, do you guys like it? Let me know in the comments if you're digging this new setup, trying to make this content interesting, engaging, and fun for 2023. So let's break it down. I want to share some things around the income that I made. So the financial year in Australia usually goes from June to June. So basically from 2021 June to 2022 June, I made around 125K in revenue. If you do want to check out more, you can check out a video. I'll put it in the link below and you can check out my breakdown of that. If I just calculate just the second half of 2022, made around 42,000. So that's really cool. And obviously that will continue till June this year. So yeah, still aiming to, hit 100K plus, always trying to improve and get better and refine my systems and processes. And so super thankful for that. I've been doing freelancing and design and courses for many years now. And so I've built a lot of leveraged income streams and multiple streams. So for me to constantly be growing that is just super awesome. I also released 5 Skillshare courses, which was really cool. I actually collaborated. 2 of those were short courses that I did in collaboration with Skillshare. So I thought that was kind of fun. It was a media kit one and also how to work with influencers. So that was really cool. And the other ones, I released a Photoshop masterclass, and that was all about how to do Photoshop. And I did a few other ones. And so for me, every year I try and aim for 3 courses. And the reason is because you need to be consistent. And I always want to make sure that I'm teaching what I'm learning. So if I'm teaching it, then I just retain the information better. And I also help my audience grow and learn the same things that I'm learning. And so when it comes to courses, I think that is super cool. Now, 2 products were launched as well in my store. So I released the Notion Freelance Starter Kit. That has been doing really well. It's all about how to, work in Notion, and I built all my, templates and processes in there. So it makes the creative process easy when working on a client project or working on content. And so you can check that out in my store if you like. I also did a free ebook on how to get your first client. So originally I was going to sell that ebook for $20, but then I decided to just give it away for free. And you can download that on my website, which is super cool. And I just wanted to give back. A lot of designers and freelancers, I've realized they always struggle with getting clients, especially in third world countries or other overseas. So I always try and help you guys. So for me, that was fun to do. I've got a lot of products coming this year. I really want to push more of those template packs, so it saves you time, having to figure out how to work with clients. Now, I did do a few podcasts. Some of the ones I did was Black Bear Creative. I did one with Kittle. I did a blog for Shutterstock, which was really cool. I've been doing Adobe live streams on Behance, so doing logos and brand work. You probably saw some of them, which was cool. And then one of my favorite ones was actually Logo Geek. Now, I've always wanted to go on that podcast. It's one of the biggest logo and design podcasts in the world. My friend Ian from the UK runs it, and I was so stoked to go on there. We talked about how to do content, how to grow passive income, and working with clients and logos. And so that was one of my favorite episodes. So yeah, I did a fair few. I'm pretty sure I did around 10 of them. Some of them I did back at the start of the year, so sometimes it's hard to recall all of them. But yeah. Now, what did I invest in? So I always try and build myself up, because if you're not learning new skills and not adapting, then you could be decreasing. So, as they say, adapt or die, right? So for me, I always invest in myself, invest the income back into my business. So I did a coaching call with Ed from Film Booth. So that was really insightful. Got some tips for growing my YouTube channel, because I really want to grow my YouTube. So that was a priority for me. So that was really cool. I also joined Creator Now, which just launched at the end. So in December and January, they just started up. It's a YouTube community, which is cool. And that's with Arak and other big YouTubers. I also joined Night Owl Nation and Hyper Growth. Now, those are not design focused, but they're more about marketing, strategy, content, selling, stuff like that. Bit of everything, similar to how I was running the Miro Academy back in 2021. So it's just good to refresh my memory on some of, the concepts and, stuff like that. Just good to be in communities. So that was really cool. I also invested in books. I bought around 10 books. And so my top 3 favorites are actually Alex Hormozi, 100 Million Offers, which is really cool. The Alamak of Naval and How to Design a Logo by Hadil Ahmad. These are really great books. Very different as well. One's more business, one's more design related, one's more wealth and happiness. And so that was super great to I always try and aim for one book a month. And if I'm not reading, I just try and like read a few pages. And that's my goal really, just to always be feeding my mind the right information. I also did invest in a video editor and a VA. I'm still currently working my editor, but my VA I decided to cut off in December, and we can talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I invested in those things because I was growing my revenue and I wanted to invest back in my business and outsource some of the things because I was doing everything myself. So this year I really pushed to like outsource and get better at that. It was a challenge managing them. We'll talk about that in a little bit in the challenging section. So some of the key challenges I did face was, okay, number one was like balancing family and business. And obviously having a baby who's like over just 1 year old now, and, you know, balancing business and, you know, hanging out with my wife and, you know, helping with the baby stuff, you know, doing diapers and whatever else. It can be challenging. And so a lot of business owners don't talk about it too much. Like, you know, how do you do content? How do you do all this stuff whilst having your family? And it's actually not easy because you have to sacrifice your time and invest into those areas of your life and take responsibility, right? So that was a big challenge for me this year. You know, sticking to my systems and routines helped me in my habits as well, like figuring out what's the best way to manage that. The first like 6 months when the baby's really small, it is a bit harder, but now we have a routine going, so it's actually a lot better now. So yeah, it's getting better as they get older. Number two is that the Instagram algorithm kept changing. Like that platform has been so whack lately, and you know, everyone was hating on Instagram. They're becoming like TikTok. You know, I've always been a fan of YouTube as number one, but anyway, I got stuck around 101,000 followers for like 6 months. Like the algorithm was just not, it cut all my reach, it cut everything, even though I was posting consistently, like at least 5 days a week on Instagram, posting, you know, reels. I also flipped my strategy a little bit, doing some like Twitter posts, but that didn't end up going too well. And then I went back to carousels. And so I focused more on genuine connections instead of just like trying to get followers, but the growth slowed down a lot. That was a big challenge for me. I also launched a Black Friday bundle this year, which was cool. Like I always try and do exclusive bundles every year so that it's exclusive. It's not just the same bundle every year, because I don't like doing too many sales and discounts. I'm always more about being unique and focusing on value. So I only ended up doing one sale, which was very low. I was expecting to do, you know, 30, 50 sales. And so it was really low for me. And I created all these graphics and spent time working on it, but it ended up not being worth it. And so sometimes in business, that's what you have to deal with. You have to deal with, you know, is your offer good? Maybe your marketing, or you didn't promote it enough, or maybe I should have done ads. Like you start questioning, what are the areas I can improve on for next time? Another challenge I did face was not cutting down my expenses. I had a lot of expenses, especially like I use a lot of apps. Obviously, I started outsourcing stuff, and you know, back to the VA thing, like the VA, I went through an agency, and so you pay different fees to the agency because there's a manager, and you know, 10% goes to charity, and then you're covering a lot of things for the company. It's not just you're paying for the VA. So that was kind of high, and I ended up sticking with her for around, I think, 3 to 4 months, which was cool. It was a great learning experience, but I ended up having to cut down expenses because, you know, other income streams started to decrease a little bit. And so I had to find ways to cut expenses. So yeah, cut my VA, drop down some of the plans I was on in my tech stack, and just to reduce expenses really, because you need to make sure you trim the fat on your business. So yeah, that was a challenge. And let's talk about some of my learnings as well. So just because you make more money doesn't mean you need to rush in scaling the business and outsourcing a lot of stuff, because you got to remember that when you start outsourcing, you have to manage that person. And I'm not talking about micromanaging. I'm talking about like, you have to give feedback. You have to like make sure they're doing their job, you know, their execution, all these things. And you have to like also like think about their mental health and personal health as well. You got to take that into consideration. So, because they're part of your team in a way. And so don't rush things when you're getting heaps more money, because remember, more money equals more tax. And so for me, I was like putting away like 25% tax, but I realized I needed to put like around 30 to 32% because I went into a higher income bracket in Australia. Like when you go, there's brackets. And so for me, I didn't put enough, and then I got hit at the end of the year with a big tax thing, and then I had to do like a payment plan, which was really annoying. But you know, I had to get it done. So that was one of the big learnings. Hiring a VA through an agency was a great experience for me. So I think that's a really good idea if you don't know how to hire, like say on Upwork or Fiverr, and you feel stuck, then I think using an agency is really good. As I said, like it ended up being too much, but I like the feeling of like being able to have a team and get ideas from them, and you know, find time for other activities. So that's cool. But then sometimes I had to correct some of the designs they were doing, and some of the edits. That sucks my energy because I have to like fix it. Another learning was you don't have to spend more money to get more value. You can find people that can do it for less and they still deliver the same quality or value, especially in terms of like video editing or, design work or copywriting stuff. You can find great people that deliver the same value, but they do it for cheaper. So there's great people all over around the world. You can hire them. Don't be scared. You don't always have to hire in USA or America or Canada. You can always hire people outside of that. So that's a learning. One of the biggest investments that have saved me so much time is that hiring that video editor from overseas. That has saved me so much time into the editing process. I just upload my files to Dropbox, drop it in there, and he edits. And then I go on frame.io and do all the tweaks, revisions, etc. for him and put what I want. And yeah, he's really great at what he does. Notion, I built out my dashboard even more and developed like SOPs. So for me, that has made everything more efficient in my business and allows me to have everything in one place. And so I'm gonna release my dashboard as a template probably this year. I'll be selling that. So it's a bit different from the Notion freelance kit. It'll be a bit more about the business side of stuff. So if you want to grab that, let me know in the comments if you'd be interested. And one of the other things that I feel like is very important to talk about is like a lot of the time we have like this mentality of like hustle and grind, hustle culture, work 14-hour days and always be work. But I've realized it's better to focus on one thing, focus on deep work and less hours, but better, but more efficient. So it's not about the hours that gets the result. It's about the productivity, the amount of impact you're having with less time. And so you can work 5 hours a day and get more done than someone's whole like 3 days of work, So make sure that we're focused on putting more time into deep work, focus work. And then lastly, networking has been beneficial. It still is one of the best ways to, build relationships. For example, one guy met me on Instagram and then I actually met up with him. We went out for, lunch and that was super cool to get to know him. And then he ended up being a client and, I was making income from that. And so we built a great relationship and now we're collaborating on content and stuff. So network is everything. Like do not neglect your network because it is so important. And so this year I'm really dedicating my mind and my time and my focus on the right things. There's a great quote that I heard from this great speaker. She was saying, where your mind goes, your energy flows. Where your energy flows, your life goes. And so make sure that you're setting your intentions. Make sure that you're putting your mind on the right things and you're putting your energy on the right things because it determines where your mind's at. It's going to determine where you're going to be. And so make effort this year to not listen to the haters. Focus on developing your skills, investing the money back into yourself, cutting down your spending, saving money, and build your business and help as many people as you can. And so that's my focus this year. And then for my business and really refining, building more products, more courses, helping designers. And hopefully you enjoy this review and learn a thing or two. And I'm super excited for 2023. If you do want to see my video on how I use ChatGPT, you can click here and watch that. But thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it.